Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Amanda and this is the Strawberry Moon Homestead. So, as we all know, life gets really busy. My life lately has been crazy. So today I'm going to be preparing some freezer meals so that on those days where I really don't want to cook, I don't have time to cook, I've got a nice, healthy, budget-friendly meal ready for me in the freezer that I can just pull out, thaw out, and cook. So come along with me and I'm going to show you what I prepared today. So my kids are at forest school today, so I've got about 4 hours to complete some of these meals. So the meals today that I'm going to make are a lasagna, probably 2, a shepherd's pie, and then I'm going to see if I can get to the turkey that I have left over and make a pot pie as well. We'll see how far I get. So I'm going to start with the lasagna. I found ground beef at the store. Not only was it on sale, but it had also gone on clearance. So I picked up a bunch of them. So I've got a decent amount of ground beef to get through. So I'm probably going to do 2 lasagnas, one for the freezer, one for tonight, because my daughter has horseback riding lessons and Wednesdays are always a rush for us. So I'm going to start by cutting up 2 onions and chopping them pretty small. I'm going to get a better knife though. There we go. So I typically like any ground beef dish to be cut with lentils. So I soaked lentils last night because that way it just extends the beef basically and it adds in a lot of flavor. Or fiber, not flavor. The lentils themselves are fairly flavorless. All right, while that's cooking, I'm gonna get started on my shepherd's pie. Honestly, my shepherd's pie and my lasagna sauce, spaghetti sauce, any of that is very similar. Just because when I do a ground beef sauce, I like to throw in whatever vegetables I possibly can, amp it up, put in lentils, that sort of thing. And then it just adds extra nutrition and fiber to my family's diet. So I'll show you exactly what I'm doing for my shepherd's pie, but it's going to be very, very similar to the lasagna sauce. All right, so I'm going to start in with onions again. Onions and mushrooms, they're like the base of the majority of my dishes. I like the fact that it's full of chromium, both onions and mushrooms, which are really good for brain health. So as my children are growing, it helps their brain grow as well. So that's why onions and mushrooms are typically in everything. Same with sulfur, they're full of sulfur, also very good for the brain. But I will put different vegetables in here. I'm gonna go pick some kale from my garden and we'll get that in here as well, just so we can get some greens in there. Okay, so for the lasagna, I'm going to use a tomato sauce that I made this year from all the tomatoes that we grew. Unfortunately, I don't have any fresh garlic to put in here, nor do I have garlic powder. Normally that would be a staple. Luckily, I put garlic in my tomato sauce though, so it's all right. So here I'm going to add 2 jars of my tomato sauce to the ground beef and lentil mixture. Then I'm just going to let it cook down for a little bit so that the beef and the lentils can absorb all the tomato sauce flavors. So in the tomato sauce, there's thyme, there's rosemary, some oregano as well, and some garlic and onions. So the tomato sauce itself has a lot of flavor to it. Next, in my shepherd's pie mixture, I've got my onions and my mushrooms just frying down, getting nice and cooked in some olive oil. and I'm going to add some ground beef to this. Once I'm done adding my ground beef, I'm going to cook it down a little bit, and I'm also going to add rosemary and thyme. Sometimes in our shepherd's pie, we do like a taco base where I add cumin and chili, but I also enjoy the rosemary and thyme in the taco base, especially with a sweet potato topping. For some extra veggies, I found some peas that had been in my freezer for a while, so I decided to use them up and get them into my shepherd's pie mixture. The wonderful thing about shepherd's pie, lasagna, all of that is you can add whatever vegetables you have hanging around. It doesn't have to be a specific recipe. So if you have any extra vegetables, you can just add it to these. So it is such a beautiful day out. I can't believe that almost November and it's 23 degrees Celsius out today. So I'm gonna come out now and I'm gonna pick some kale from the garden to get in my shepherd's pie. So this is our kale this year. It's done awesome. So I'm super happy that it's just still going. I'm hoping that this lasts at least into December. Would be nice. So I'm just going to take my freshly washed kale and I'm going to cut it up finely so that I can stick it in the lasagna and in my shepherd's pie. Just adds a little extra greenery into our diets, and it's pretty much hidden within the sauces. All right, so I ended up adding some to my lasagna sauce as well. Just like, as I said, I love adding vegetables in wherever I can, especially when they're greens and they can kind of hide in the sauce. And that way my kids get their greens in as well. So we'll just let this boil down a little bit more. And I'm going to work on my cream sauce. So I've recently had to go dairy-free. So I've been looking for a dairy-free recipe for the lasagna, mainly for the ricotta, because hard cheeses like a hard cheddar doesn't really contain a lot of lactose, so that doesn't bother me. But a soft cheese like cream cheese or yogurts or things like that will bother me. So I looked around for a dairy-free option for the ricotta, for the creamy base. And in this book here, I found a good recipe, so that's what I'm going to use. It's a cashew ricotta. So I've been soaking my cashews in my bowl here, so they're nice and soft. So I'm going to go ahead and make that ricotta, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so in my blender, I'm adding 2 cups of the soaked cashews. I'm actually going to double that and add 4 cups, just because I'm doing 2 lasagnas. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and a bit of salt. So last time I did this, I think I added some almond milk just to make it a little bit creamier. So we'll see what this does. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do this time too. I'm going to put in a little bit more almond milk. This recipe also calls to put in onion and garlic powder, but I don't have any, so I'm just going without for now. I think I've also added tofu, like a soft tofu to this in the past, and it's been good, but I don't have any of that either, so this is what we're doing. It's definitely one thing I love about cooking is that you can make it your own. You can experiment. You can do whatever you want with it to make it what you want, what your tastes are. So you can kind of play around with recipes. Baking is not quite the same, so... But cooking is a lot like that. So this is what a ricotta looks like. Oh, that's too bright. I don't know if you can see that. I'll show it to you when it's in the pan as well, because it's not really coming out very well. Almost like a cottage cheese. All right, I think it's time to put our lasagnas together. So in preparation for my freezer meals, I didn't want to use the tinfoil ones or the aluminum ones because it's aluminum, and I wanted to be able to reuse the containers all the time. So I went to my thrift store and bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. So I just washed them up and I'm ready to use them now. Unfortunately, only one came with a lid. So after that, I will actually have to wrap it in plastic wrap or tin foil. But for the most part, I'm not using the tin foil. All right, so I'm just gonna put a light layer on the bottom. Okay, I just have the ready to cook lasagna noodles. They were on sale. So that is what we're using. Our ricotta mixture.
It was you who started all of this, promising me more with every kiss. Said all you wanted was me, and you're always thinking of me. You told me that you love me, you told me that you love me. But if you love someone, you don't tell them every now and then. If you love someone, you ain't lying about where you've been. You don't leave them hanging down.
All right, so this one's ready to go in the freezer, and I'll get another one ready. Okay, so for the shepherd's pie, instead of doing the regular white potatoes, I like to do sweet potatoes just because they do add the extra vitamins and minerals in there. It's a change, and we all love sweet potatoes here. So I'm gonna peel these up, get them boiled and mashed to go ahead and put on my shepherd's pie.
Always thinking of me. You told me that you love me. You told me that you love me. But if you love someone, you don't tell them every now and then. If you love someone, you ain't lying about where you've been. You don't leave them hanging out like clothes on a line. Only come around on your sweet time. I'll tell you right now, that ain't how it's done. If you love someone, yeah. If you love someone, I don't think that you know what you want. And I just won't be something that I'm not. No, I ain't gonna fake it. My heart ain't gonna take it, so I won't let you break it. Cause if you love someone, you don't tell them every now and then. If you love someone, you ain't lying about.
So a while ago I had this pie plate. I loved it. It was a deep dish pie plate. I did all my pies in it. It was awesome. And then it broke. And I was so sad. I couldn't find another pie plate like it again. And then I went to the thrift store and I found the exact same one. So clearly had to pick it up, as well as like 4 more pie plates, but so happy to find this. So I actually put my shepherd's pie in this as well, just because I mean my kids are small, we don't eat huge portions, so this is where it's gonna go.
Every now and then, if you love someone, you ain't lying about where you've been. You don't leave them hanging down.
It's my sweet potatoes are done. I've put some almond milk and some margarine in there because I can't have the butter. We're just gonna mash it up and get it on our shepherd's pie. Right, there is our completed shepherd's pie. So now I've got 3 freezer meals done. Now to get on to the turkey. All right, time to put together the second lasagna.
Clothes on a line, only come around on your sweet time. I'll tell you right now, that ain't how it's done. If you love someone, yeah. If you love someone,
So at Thanksgiving, I was able to find a turkey that was on a really good sale. So I picked it up, put it in the freezer, and I've just cooked it up yesterday, took all the meat off the bones, and I've got the bones in a pot simmering to make turkey broth. And now I'm going to turn the turkey meat into 2 turkey pot pies. Okay, so I have some onions and celery in my pan. Now I'm gonna add some canned carrots that I canned a couple years ago, and then we'll get the turkey in. Okay, so this is the base of my chicken pot pie. I'm just gonna add some rosemary and thyme. Okay, so while that's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and get my pie crust ready. So I'm starting off with 2.5 cups of flour. I'm gonna add 2 1/3 cups of lard and some salt, and then water, and roll it out.
She looked up from a tall glass of something I could tell she was needing a friend. Her teardrops were making rings in her whiskey. She cried out, "Where do I begin?" We laughed and talked, sat for hours, never even looked at the clock.
So now that my vegetables have been cooking down for a bit, I'm just adding some turkey broth that I have going beside my pan here. And then I'm going to start to add in my turkey that I pulled off the bone yesterday. All right, so I just put some cornstarch and water in here just to thicken up the broth. And now it's ready to go in the pies.
Something I could tell she was needing a friend. Her teardrops were making rings in her whiskey. She cried out, "Where do I begin?" We laughed and talked, sat for hours, never even looked at the clock. She gave me a hug, said, "I can thank you enough. This really helped me out a lot." Then she walked off.
Right, here are our 2 pies. I'm gonna bake them before I freeze them because I don't want them to get soggy. So they're gonna go in the oven at 350 for 50 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. We managed to get 5 freezer meals done in those 4 hours before I gotta go get the kids, and I have time for a coffee. If you're looking for more budget meals, more frugal tips, as well as urban homesteading, make sure you give my channel a follow, and I'll see you guys next time.